Well, good morning and welcome to another show. This is April the 15th, 2023. I'll be doing the same in this show as the previous shows, going through some of these very interesting questions and then moving on to some other things as well that I have lined up here at the end of the show. And during the show, you can ask me questions. Again, personal questions are out, just things that are related to technology and whatnot, please. So with that out of the way, let's just go ahead and dive right in here. I suspect, being Saturday morning, there's going to be a few of you that are not going to be joining me here, but that's okay. If you if you've missed this show, you can go back and watch a previous show, and you can join me in an upcoming show. I plan on doing this, and I will be also cutting and chopping these videos up for the folks that are not actually here and can't be here, unfortunately, live. So with that being said, let's continue. So let's move on here and go to the first question. What is your preferred method of learning new technology skills? Online courses, in-person classes, self-teaching, all the above, or other? Now, it would seem that most people are being self-taught or want to be self-taught these days. And I kind of see that. And it makes sense because, with a lot of content online that you can get from multiple sources and even AI right now, it makes sense. It definitely does. And you can get a lot of accurate and good information that you can learn from. I mean, if you're doing anything these days, what do? The first thing you do is you go to a source. For me, it's usually Google, but it doesn't have to be. You can go to YouTube if you want, like, for example, an instruction video on how to fix, your clothes washer or maybe an electrical problem. But it's an invaluable resource, right, that you can use, that is there if you want it, and it's wonderful. I mean, it's just, you didn't have this, not even, think of 10, 15, 20 years ago. That's nothing. We didn't have this stuff back then. You had to rely upon someone in the family or a friend. If you couldn't fix it yourself, you had to figure it out by yourself, and then by doing so, you could make some mistakes, and now you can go through it if you have the courage to search online, that is, and find out the solution to it. What mystifies me sometimes is people asking myself questions, other people questions, which they can get answers to very, very quickly. But that's good. It's good for me. I mean, I can answer those questions and I can, produce content based upon those questions. But it's very easy these days just to search for it and find the information very, very quickly. So I can see this makes sense. People are self-taught. In-person classes, I don't know if, I think universities and whatnot are slowly but surely dying. Universities, I went through college. I went through university, not college. You go through multiple degrees, but I guess it's a social thing. It teaches you, to be able to start and finish things. And certainly if you can do that, an employer would look at that certainly and go, well, this person can at least start and finish and complete things and whatnot, I suppose. Although with the labor market being what it is, I don't think employers care too much about any of that stuff anymore. They're so desperate for workers these days. And I don't know where all the jobs are going to be going, maybe gone with AI, or a lot of them will be. So we will see. And a lot of people that are hired probably these days will definitely need to have those skills, becoming AI engineers, prompt engineers. Yeah, I think I talked about that a little bit in the last video. So let's go on to the next one here. How do you feel about the use of self-driving cars and other autonomous vehicles? Now, I'm kind of up and down and sideways about this because, I grew up, actually, I first learned to drive in a pickup truck that was a long pickup truck, had a huge canopy on the back, very hard to maneuver. It might as well have been a bus, to be honest. I grew up that way, and while that was a standard vehicle, the first vehicle that I ever owned was a standard, and that was awesome. And many vehicles after that were standard. I personally got used to, being in control of the vehicle absolutely and completely, especially it being standard. If you've driven standard, you know what I mean. But now, of course, we're going away from standard. We're getting into cars that are becoming semi-automatic with lane changing and lane correction and, this auto cruise control functions that will keep you at the same speed as the car in front of you, but a good distance back. And there's so many other systems that they have, warning systems that cars have implemented now, backup systems. I mean, even the basic vehicles these days have a lot of, semi kind of like warning, self-driving stuff in them already. And some of them have it completely. When you look at some videos of Tesla drivers, right? They're just asleep, not driving the vehicle. So I think, though, with AI and whatnot, I think it will get to a point where vehicles can become completely autonomous, and AI with quantum computing can, be able to drive probably a hell of a lot better than we can. Because if you're on the road every day driving, you know what it's like out there. People are on their phones, they're distracted, they have stuff on their minds. There's different ages, different cultures, and all of that. So you mix all of that into it, and humans, the probability for errors is pretty huge. And and then you've got, of course, 15-minute cities coming and all that stuff where the idea is to not drive a vehicle. I mean, vehicles are tremendously expensive too, right? I mean, you're looking at a vehicle, maybe a lease or a loan's probably costing you anywhere from $2,000 to $1,000 a month. You've got insurance on that, maybe a few $100s a month. You've got maintenance, you've got gas prices these days. And I don't care if it's not gas, it's something. It's going to be electric, which is going to go up. Eventually, it definitely will. So we will see where it all goes, but that's how I kind of feel about autonomous vehicles. And most people say, no way, I prefer actually to drive. So, but do this poll in 10 more years and see where it is. It probably will be completely different, but we'll see. We'll see. But interesting. I thought it was an interesting poll. And the results, a lot of these results, you kind of, when I post these polls, I kind of have a feeling for the audience, and I kind of, I can guess what the outcome is going to be, but sometimes not. But this is actually good to see. It's good to see that people want to be in control of their own vehicle. That's a good thing. It really is. All right, to go on to the next one here. How do you feel about the use of biometric technology such as fingerprints or facial recognition for security purposes? It's awesome, most people say. No, thank you is next. And the least amount of people say don't care either way. So, I'm kind of I'm not sure what to think about this because it's good. However, with biometrics and fingerprints and facial recognition, of course, that data, your data, has to be stored somewhere, right? So is that a security risk in itself? Will that end up out there somewhere? So the preventative measure for security with biometric technology could become maybe a probable problem or an issue further down the road. So that's something to think about. But with everything, almost everything having biometrics and facial recognition, I mean, yeah. And passwords being so hard to hack these days, it's what do you do, right? You got to do this or you got to do that. So I think biometric technology, myself personally, is great. It certainly makes it easier. Is it less secure, more secure? That can certainly be debated. All right, so let's move on to the next one here. This show is chugging right along in rapid fashion. Maybe it won't be an hour, a full hour this time, but let's go through this. So the next one here is, how do you feel about the use of smart home technology, such as Alexa or Google Home for controlling household devices? Now, I'm not sure, because I understand that this stuff can be hacked quite easily and people can get into your network if you have these smart devices. But they are convenient, right? And a lot of things technology related that are convenient, a lot of times they open up a lot of security holes. So, and I think a lot of people here are aware of that because, they voted, they spy on us. No thanks. The other one was love it and have it. On the fence about it. But most people think they're spying on you. And I don't know if, really probably 90%, 99% of the time they're not. I mean, maybe indirectly they are taking your data, knowing when you, for example, maybe they know when you're home, or maybe they know when you're turning a light on or off, or your oven on and off, or whatever. But, not only can someone crack into your network, they could also control the devices that are in your network. So they could turn maybe your oven on and off, or your refrigerator on or off, or your lights on and off, or your heat on and off, or your AC on and off, so that could become a problem as well. So just keep that all in mind. They could record you as well, right? Your phone could record you. Your Alexa could record you, so, there's been reports of that happening in situations where, something was to go down inside of your home or office and that device is recording everything. But of course, there's devices everywhere these days. They're in your homes, they're on your person with your smartphone, they're on the roads, there's cameras everywhere. If you go to work, there's cameras at work, there's cameras in the shopping malls. So, it's all over the place anyway. Can't get away from it. All right, so on to the next exciting thing. Cyberpunk Ray Tracing Overdrive. I kind of posted this one at the last minute. There was a lot of stuff going on that day about path tracing. And I tried it out. And I'm going to get to that in a little while after I get through all of these questions here, these poll questions, and go through a result that I did. I loaded Cyberpunk again on my system. I went through it. I'm going to go through it again. I was hoping maybe at some point they release patch 1.7 and maybe they'll refine a few other things in the game. But I have so much on my plate, with I'm trying to get through Red Dead Redemption 2 and I'm loving it. So I'm taking my time. That's all encompassing game, to be honest. So, I have other hobbies. I have other interests. I don't want to be gaming all the time. I really don't. I love it, but there's limits, right? So, but yeah, I did a test and, while at path tracing the overdrive with the version 1.62 patch, it looks amazing, but is it worth the hit? Not in my opinion. I'm getting ahead of myself though. So this poll was the Cyberpunk Ray Tracing Overdrive, the path tracing patch version 1.62 is amazing and I'm using it. Not so great as it cripples my video card. Just a tech showcase of sorts. Everyone chill. Just hyped to sell 4,000 series video cards. So, most people say it's the last one there. Just hype to sell 4,000 series video cards. It's definitely hype, but still, path tracing is something that I think will become very beneficial and it will be visually stunning. And I believe it's the way forward because what happens with path tracing is the light kind of bounces randomly all over the place and it looks more like this, right? You can see me as I'm moving my arms here in front of the light. It casts all these random shadows, not really random, I suppose, in some respects, but, depending on the light source and how it bounces around. Pretty neat stuff. But it's a massive, massive performance hit at the moment. And, that might change. Okay, on to the next one here. How do you feel about the use of cryptocurrency and blockchain technology? Now, this is a heavy one, okay? This is a heavy one. So I'll just read the questions here. It's the future. Not sure. It's scary, and I'm afraid. So most people are not sure. And I don't think a lot of people really know a lot about cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. And it is kind of hard to wrap your head around. It is. I mean, it definitely is. So let me just go through a few things here with you, and maybe I can, make you a little bit more aware of what cryptocurrency and blockchain is and how it kind of works. So I got a little script here written up. I'll just read it to you. Cryptocurrency is a digital or virtual form of currency that uses cryptology for security and operates independent of the central bank. It is decentralized, meaning that it is not controlled by any government or financial institution. Transactions are recorded on a public ledger called blockchain. So that's where blockchain comes into this. So blockchain is a public ledger, which ensures transparency and immutability. Immutability basically means that it's secure and you can't change it. Popular cryptocurrencies include Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, some of you out there know a lot about this stuff, and some of you don't know hardly anything. So that should highlight a little bit about what cryptocurrency is. Now, blockchain, I mentioned, is a public ledger. So blockchain, I'll talk more about this. Blockchain is a decentralized digital ledger that records transactions in a secure and transparent way. It uses cryptology to ensure the integrity and immutability, again, that word, of the data, making it resistant to tampering and fraud. Now, I don't know how true that is with AI and quantum computing coming, right? It's a digital currency. It's out there. It's not a physical asset. So take that as you will. Each block in the chain contains a unique cryptographic hash, which links it to the previous block, creating an unbreakable chain of data. Blockchain technology has applications in various institutions, including finance, healthcare, and supply chain management. While cryptocurrency relies on blockchain technology, its secure and decentralized nature, blockchain technology can be used for a wide range of applications, including cryptocurrency, such as chain management, voting systems, and identity verification. How secure is it? It's a digital currency. It's anyone's guess, and like I said, I worry because it's not a physical asset. That's my only concern. It is actually out there. And they say it's immutable. It's kind of like you can't change it. But with quantum computing and AI, maybe you can. And if you can hack it, then how does that change the whole dynamics of this, digital kind of currency in a way? I don't know. I mean, I'm no crypto or blockchain expert, not at all. Maybe it's scary, maybe it's not scary, but yeah. And I think a lot of people, they're not really understanding it. Even after this description, right? Do you understand it? It's hard for a lot of people to wrap their head around. So yeah. Anyway, let's go on to the next one here. How do you feel about the use of cookies and other tracking technologies on websites? I don't allow them. I don't care either way. not happy about them, but click through anyway. I don't allow them. Most people say they don't allow them. Now, myself personally, I don't allow them unless I'm on a site that I know. And then, if you're buying something, let's say at Best Buy, and you want them to know where you're located, then, because you want to know where to pick up that product at a close location to you. Yeah, I do, but otherwise I don't. And you could buy, you can sorry, not buy, but you can install blockers, right, on your browser to stop this stuff. But a lot of sites, if you don't allow it, the site will not come up. So you have to make that decision, right? Okay, so the next question here, how often do you take breaks or disconnect from technology for mental health reasons? Often take breaks, hardly ever take breaks, or other. So most people, actually, they're not taking breaks. Hardly ever, 74% right now, they do not take breaks. Myself personally, I do often take breaks. I'm usually good for maybe an hour or two, and then I have to take a break. And sometimes I will just quit it. I'm done. That's it. That's all I have the time for anyway. And I'm done. But, any more than that, I find you kind of, I don't know, there's some kind of a disconnect with yourself and the rest of the world. You feel like I don't know, it's weird. I can't explain it, but that's for myself. That might not be for you. You could probably spend 10 hours plus. And I think if you're younger too, I think this doesn't apply so much. Maybe, I don't know. When you get older, your eyes are more sensitive. Maybe your wrist is more sensitive. Maybe your shoulders, maybe you're sitting, you can't sit for long periods of time and stuff. But you're younger, a lot of that doesn't really matter. And, a lot of young people, I know, they just sit in front of their whatever, tablets or gaming consoles or computers, and they're at it for a tremendous amount of time. So, but in saying all that, make sure you take breaks, get away from it. Even if you look away for 5 or 10 seconds, like every half an hour, that's something at least. But I don't think it's good to be at it all the time for massive extended periods. Yeah, that's just my personal view on it. But take breaks. Take breaks. And that's it for the questions. So let me scroll back up here to the top. By the way, this image that is on the site here, on the community part of my YouTube channel, youtube.com, 3D Game Man, this was designed by AI. Just enter a sunset that's red, and within seconds, AI just creates it for you. You don't have to make it yourself. You don't have to design it yourself. You don't have to pay someone else to design it for you. It's cool, but I think someone just was out of a job because of that, right? Very neat. Very, very, very neat. Okay, so let's go on to the next part of the show where I'm just going to go through a few things here that I have noted down and other things that happened during the week. And if you have any comments or questions, let me know. I think everyone is probably asleep still. I don't think they're awake yet. I don't see anyone here in the live chat. So what's happening? What's going on? Has the world ended, or is there something big going on that I don't know about? I'm sure you have better things to do, right? And I chop these up, so you'll see a lot of this content when I post it later on in the week. And actually, I chopped up last Saturday's content, and I'm still chopping it up. I'm stopping it because I'm trying to limit it to one per day, but it's difficult because I talk and ramble on in these shows, and some of it's, I think some of it's important, and I think it's important to get out there. So there's maybe 7 poll questions that I'm covering, and all of those are interesting. So I post those, chop those up, and then there's other things that I'm talking about. So I chop all that up, and you end up with 10, 15 cut videos, little short videos. And it's a lot of content, right? I mean, I don't mind posting it, but it's like sometimes I feel like it's almost too much content. And then I'm trying to also create these Red Dead Redemption 2 videos, which I love doing, actually. I love the whole thing about that. I love playing it. I love producing the content for Red Dead Redemption 2. So it's just, it is what it is. All right. So I don't know. I don't know if you guys have you're sipping on your black tea or your coffee or whatever right now, but I already had some black tea. Again, as I mentioned in the last live show, right now I'm drinking East Indian loose tea, and I'm loving it. No milk, just throw loose tea in a mug and throw in some hot water, and boom, boom, boom. Don't drink so much coffee as I used to. Trying to back away from that. Not completely, because coffee is good for you, just like tea is good for you. But I was kind of raised on tea. So, yeah. So anyway. So if any of you decide to join me here, I'll stay on for a little while longer. And this will probably be one of the shortest live shows that I've done. This is the 5th live show, by the way. This is the 5th live show that I've done since I did the other ones like a decade or so ago. So the numbering is a little different on these, or I am numbering them in my head differently because, I don't want to go off the ones that I did such a long time ago. Everything was different back then. I looked different back then. The world was completely different back then, like completely different. What has happened in the world? Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, it's something else. So let's go on to, like I said before, this latter part of the show where I will be, after this, tying things up, wrapping it all up, and I can get on with my weekend and my Saturday and probably head out and kind of got back into photography again. So wildlife and birds and things that are very small and flying around. And I have a video coming up actually about a lens, a telephoto lens that I just picked up, and I'm going to release that either today or in a few days. I'm not sure. It's done. It's actually uploaded, but I haven't made it public yet. But it's content that I'm thinking about doing, just going out there, kind of like video vlogging and shooting some pictures and talking about them all, because that's pretty cool. I've seen other people do that on YouTube, and I find it interesting as well. They talk about the camera, they talk about the wildlife, they talk about all that stuff, and I have an interest in all of that. I always have, actually. Photography, I've always had an interest in photography. And actually that, I can be grateful for that from my father, who was also into photography. Of course, in his time was 1000% utterly everything manual. So, and now when I shoot, it's all manual settings as well. And you get used to it after a while, shooting in manual. No expert. I am no photography expert by no stretch of the imagination, but it's nice to go out there and, use manual settings and to kind of tweak your skills. And oddly enough, you would think that there's a lot of things to take into consideration, certainly when you're shooting manual, right? You have the shutter speed. Maybe you want a higher shutter speed if you're shooting a fast flying bird. You have exposure, you have ISO, you have aperture. Maybe you want to blur the background. Maybe you don't want to. There's a whole bunch of the lighting conditions. Is it cloudy outside, sunny outside? So there's a lot of things. And when you see pictures taken by photographers, and they're stunning, It's quite an amazing feat that they've pulled off. And this is really concerning to me, because if you look at AI right now, you can type in, like, produce a bird, a certain bird, whatever that bird may be, and it will just within seconds produce a wonderful image, with a blurred background, and it looks real, right? So that might in fact put a lid on a lot of photographers, and they you mightn't see as many as you used to. Now, when it comes to like wedding photography and that kind of stuff, you're going to need someone to do that. So, and AI would probably be of great benefit, because AI can, it can do a lot of things these days with images. They can clean it up, make it sharp. It can take out a lot of the problems that the lenses have. So it's amazing. It's just amazing. I mean, Canon has a software program that's free, and you can use that to clean up the images and sharpen the images. And it's just incredible. If you shoot in RAW, that is. Well, you can still alter the images if it's not in RAW, but it's better to shoot in RAW, because you can then, when you get home, you can fix a lot of problems with it. If it's overexposed, if it's, there's something not quite right about the image, the colors are maybe off, you got a lot more control over it. Of course, that takes extra time, but that's part of it, right? It's kind of like you shoot an image and you shoot it in a way where you think it's going to be good, but you can get home and you can then tweak it a lot better. All right, so let's get on here. So I'm going to talk about NVIDIA and their latest release, their new video card, the RTX 4070 12 gigabyte GDDR6X, and how it performs. Now, according to some of the info that I've seen so far, basically what it is essentially an RTX 3080 or an RTX 3070 Ti, performance-wise at least, with the added benefit given to the 4070 for DLSS 3. And maybe it's better at handling path tracing, which seemingly is going to be future when it comes to graphics. It's $600 US. That's around, I suppose, around 1,000 Canadian or so. You can probably pick up, an RTX 3080 for maybe less than that, but really, why would you? Unless it's a lot less, because, the 4070 has newer technologies, and remember, it has DLSS 3 and maybe some advantages when it comes to path tracing, or should you just hold off for a little while longer and get a 4080 and save some money and get a 4080 or even a 4090? But the prices on those right now are just crazy. But if you look at Cyberpunk, and if you want to play Cyberpunk at like 4K with path tracing on, you're going to need to have a 4090. Because I've seen some videos where it will cripple that 4090. So it's pretty crazy. And because this video card was released, and for other reasons, the 4070, NVIDIA also released the 531.61 gaming driver. And again, that's basically for this 4070 release, but it also fixes issues in the Assassin's Creed Origins game. That was a great game. And the latest, The Last of Us Part 1 game, and Hogwarts Legacy, and, a bunch of other tweaks and issues that they fixed. So there you have it. There's NVIDIA's, new video card, the RTX 4070, which, is it reasonably priced at $600 US? No. The most popular video card, I covered this in the last show, is, according to Steam's data, is I think it's the GTX 1650. That's a that's it's a long way off, right? I mean, the price of that card compared to the 4070. You know. Should you buy, like, for example, they compare it to the 3080? Should you buy a 3080 over this one right now? I would just wait and hold off and see kind of where it all goes, see where it all goes. So I have a 3080 and I have Cyberpunk, and I ran a test. I'm at 1440p. And this is what I play the games on natively on my system. So I ran it with path tracing enabled and with it disabled. So, and it's a huge performance hit. Huge performance hit. So with path tracing enabled on my RTX 3080, I got 10 to 15 frames per second. That's unplayable. It's a joke, really, because it's just, it's doing this. The video card just can't keep up. With path tracing disabled, still with ray tracing enabled, I get 55 to 65 frames per second. Now, this is not on max settings or anything. This is tweak settings that I've done to try and get to be honest, 60 frames a second at least, because what's the point? You can have all the graphics enabled, and if you don't get at least, in my opinion, 60 frames per second, it's not playable. It's just not. So there you have it. There it is with path tracing. And I think as this technology gets more mature and whatnot, and AI can maybe fix some of the code, and maybe DLSS can get a little bit better, maybe that will make it a little faster. We will see. We will see. Now, the other thing is free games. So the free games. Oh, and by the way, this is the 4070 here, right? They're saying it's the new 1440p gaming leader. Yeah, well, maybe not. Oh, actually, look. This price has seemingly gone down since. Oh yeah, no. It's basically $600 US. 599 US. Not cheap. Not cheap for a 4070. But it's new, and things are expensive when they're new. And this is the driver that I just talked about. And this is the Cyberpunk splash that they have here, about how wonderful path tracing is. It's good. But to be honest, I didn't see visually much of a difference because it was so slow and whatnot. I really, couldn't appreciate it the same, right? Because at 10 frames per second, it's not playable. Didn't really notice much of a difference. The light's just beautiful. The way it's more natural. And in some respects, I don't know if I like it because it seems a little washed out. But I'm sure it'll get better. Now, free games. So there's, I'm only talking about one of these free games because the other one, I don't know how good it is, but there's this one and there's Second Extinction. So this one looks like it's, it's mixed, but it's free. So you can pick up either one of these games if you want to. They're both free on Epic, not on Steam. I kind of go to Steam to see the reviews and everything else. But the last two last week were a lot better than these. But anyway, there you go. You have that option. So, yeah. And if you really want a nice cake, you can get the La Roca cake. This one here, I had a piece of this last night. So there you go. It's La Roca's brownie chocolate cheesecake. But don't eat too much sugar, guys. I usually have a piece of this or a cake like this once a week. Sometimes maybe twice a week, but that's my limit. Can't have any more. And the rest of the week, I'm just eating 70% dark chocolate. So some people are joining me here now. You guys are like coming in the tail end of the show here. I'm like wrapping up. But thank you for joining me, though, all the same. I'll hang around here for a little while longer if you have some more comments and questions. You want to, suggestions, whatever, you know. Some things I won't answer. Some things I will answer, so you can throw them out there, though. Oh, this is nice. So this person says, just stopping by to say that you have made a great positive impact on my life by helping me learn about computer building. Well, you know what? Thank you. And this is what I got into it for. I got into this in the year 2000 to help people. I wanted for everyone else to have the same appreciation and love for computers and gaming as I did way back then, when it was tremendously difficult to produce videos and get them out there. But thank you for that. This is what I'm into it for. And this is what I was always into it for, trying to help people, trying to, get all that out there. I've never been one to release all this absolute total, in my opinion, crazy nonsense that some other channels are doing. I don't think I'll ever get into that stuff. I don't personally see how I can. However, that's all that crazy stuff is what is actually popular these days. It seems like the crazier things are these days, the more hits it gets, the more money you make, and all the rest of it. But I guess some people can do it and some people can't do it. I've chosen to be, I've tried to be at least as top shelf and as professional over the years as I possibly could. Certainly I'm not perfect. I don't pretend to be perfect, but I've tried. I've done that. I've definitely tried to release content that I think is, is beneficial. Is beneficial to someone in some form or fashion. Now, I know in the last little while, since I've gotten away from doing reviews, that it's, I've kind of like went off on a little bit of a tangent, but I've kind of been there. I've done it. I've started the industry when it comes to video reviews. I've been there, man. I just, so for now, at least, I'm kind of doing all of this and I'm kind of enjoying it. I'm doing whatever I want to do now. I'm going all over the place. I'm going from, outdoor stuff in kayaks to, games, to computer stuff, to current events in the world, to, but that's what I'm liking doing. And that's what I'm producing. And this is really, I'm doing this now, not to have stress, but to, I guess, release stress. It's kind of like a therapy in a way. Not really, but it is, I guess. It is kind of. So, but this is not stressful for me, like being on camera, not anymore, because it used to be crazy stressful. When I started this, like in the year 2000, I was like petrified. You go back to some of my earlier videos, and I don't know if you can see it or sense it in me. I can, because I know, well, personally myself, how I felt back then. And I was petrified, on camera, speaking on camera. That was all new to me back then. But anyway, I pushed through all of the stage fright. I pushed through all of the absolute despicable behavior from other people who hated the concept of video reviews back then. I pushed through all of that, and I just loved it. I absolutely fell in love with pushing out content and being able to get people's responses on it. That's what drove me back then, and that's what continues to drive me, is the interactions, and I see people being helped. That's just great. Fred just got a 3090 Ti. No kidding, it's a great video card. What are you playing at, like 4K? I was going to get that card, but man, it was just, I just couldn't justify it. And I'm playing at 1440p, so, All the games that I've pushed at this 3080 that I have is fine. And I actually used to overclock the 3080, but I don't do it anymore because the fans start to ramp up. I've got a custom setting that's kind of like a perfect setting, but I don't see much of a difference. I might see half a frame per second or something. It's not worth it. So I'm just leaving the card at stock when playing games and, kind of letting it do what it needs to do. I have my case open, but to let as much cool air in it as possible. But I mean, maybe need to do these videos a little later in the morning. I don't know. But this is an ideal time for me. So, it is what it is. And by the way, if you're just joining me, and unless you're aware, you probably are by now because you're seeing me release all these videos. I'm chopping these things up. I'm chopping mostly. I'm trying to stick to only the poll questions and then maybe some of the other content that I have at the end of it. I'm not going to chop a lot of this stuff up. Maybe that comment there, I might chop up and push it out. But yeah, I think this is a good idea, chopping this stuff up, because a lot of people miss this. Yeah, I have also a tea infuser, or a ball, like a stainless steel ball that you can put tea into, and then you can then steep it and put it into your mug. You see, I have my mug right here. But it's all gone. No, it's not. I still have some. And this is black tea. This is like black as you can get. This East Indian tea. This is nasty, man. This stuff is like a curl your... It's like drinking whiskey. That's how I like my tea. Just like whiskey. I don't like whiskey, actually. Rum. I'll drink some rum. Just reading the comments here. Yeah. If you're, trying to produce content for YouTube now, it's like trying to climb up a mountain backwards and on a treadmill that's going 1,000 miles an hour or something, because it's impossible. Yeah, I get no hits. What hits do I get? I get a few hundred hits. I've been on here from day one. It's just the algorithm is absolutely ridiculous. It doesn't go by how long you've been on here, what content you have, what content you're continuing to produce. There's none of that. It's ads. I think it's all based upon ads. If you spend thousands of dollars on ads, if you have the money, then you're going to get the hits. But I'm not on here for the hits and all the rest of it. I'm just on here to have a blast and push some other content out there, and and in the interim, it'll help me. So it looks like we got yeah, it looks like we got a guy in here doing crazy stuff. Ah, well, only doesn't take very long. Hello, Alex. Just reading the comments here. You're playing at 4K on a 3090 Ti. Yeah, I can see that. You can. You have the luxury of doing that. Yeah. All right. Well, I think I'm going to wrap this up because I've been on here now ever since. How long have I been on here? I've been on here almost for 50 minutes. So usually I try to stay on for around an hour or so. Interesting. I don't know what happened, but someone just came on here posting garbage, basically, in the live show, and it all was there. I don't know if you saw this or not, but it all got deleted. What is it with people? I don't understand it. Like, what are you up to? Did you guys see all that crazy stuff that was posted a little while back? If I keep doing this and it keeps, going a little bit on the cuckoo side, then, well, I probably won't do it anymore. Or I'll get a moderator or something. No, I didn't delete it. No, I'm using OBS, and I have the chat box open in OBS open, and I'm just letting it run here. I don't care. Like, I don't care what you say or do in here. It doesn't bother me one bit, man. I've been on here just, for doing this stuff for a very long time. If you want to say nonsense, you want to do nonsense, well, that's up to you. That's on you. It's not on me. Yeah, no worries, man. And you can go back and watch the stream. And like I said, I will chop this up. We'll chop this up so you can throughout the week. I find this time the best time to do a live stream, and then after it's over, I'm gone. I'll leave it and usually go out and do something outside, outdoors, and then I get to it maybe later on, maybe Saturday or Sunday, and then usually Tuesday into Wednesday, Thursday, I start chopping it up and putting it out there. Oh, someone reported them. Well, thank you guys for doing that. I mean, I'm not doing any of that stuff in here locally. I probably would need a monitor to the moderator to do that. But if you can report them like this and get them, kicked off, then we don't want to. I mean, you don't want to have a conversation here with people, calling me or calling other people in here names and all the rest of it. I'm surprised that stuff's still going on, like, in all honesty. And I have to say, the filters on YouTube have gotten a lot better, because back in the day, when YouTube started in 2016, 2015, 2016, it used to be a lot of hate and stuff posted back then. I'm sure there still is, I suppose, but. Could be, yeah, it might have been a bot maybe, but why would a bot come in here and do all that kind of stuff? Maybe. Yeah, it's possible. Right. Well, that's what happens, That's exactly what happens. You need one or two bad apples, whether it be in your friend circle, or whether it be in your community, or whether it be in your city or town or your country. Just a few of them. And it taints everything and everyone. Still going on? No, I get that. Maybe it's even worse than it used to be. I don't know. I haven't been really on here, and anything. I've got like a filter set up as well on my channel now. I don't want any stuff. I have no interest in this stuff. Zero. And I'm not going to interact. I'm not, because you can't. That's the mistake a lot of people make, right? Especially I see this on Twitter a lot. I'm on Twitter, but I just post things. I don't get into conversations and arguments with people. You can't win an argument online, people. It doesn't happen. You can't. It's impossible. You can't do that. All you'll do is just waste your time and get frustrated. Well, this person asks here, do you have any ideas on topics for future podcasts? Oh yeah, well, I don't know, because time is an issue, and I'm actually recycling this live show and the other live shows that I'm doing. I'm chopping them up. That's shorts, so that's shorts content. I'm also putting this on the podcast, so I can take this and put this on the podcast part of YouTube as well. So, if you want to listen to me ramble on and on and on, then go right ahead. Be my guest. Because it's all I'm doing right now. That's all I am doing right now, is rambling on and on and on. But no, I don't. Not really. I mean, I could, but, I have other things to do, right? So between between life, between my hobbies, between gaming, between everything else that I have, you can only do so much. And I don't want to get to a point where this becomes like hardship. And this is not becoming a hardship right now. I like doing this. And as soon as I don't like doing this anymore, I'm not going to do it. Like I'm just not. There isn't, this is just for me now. It's more of a hobby than anything. Now I am producing a hell of a lot of content, considering that it's a hobby, but content is a problem, right? Okay, let me rephrase that. Content that's not done automatically and scripted by AI, it's a challenge. And one of the main reasons why I wanted to do these live shows is the fact that I could chop them up and use them in shorts. But no, I mean, I have tons of ideas for podcasts. I mean, I'd love to get into a setup where I could sit down with some other people and talk about things. I'm a very social person. I can interact with people very easily. So I would love doing that. And I think that would be quite incredible. But, who do you team up with, right? I don't know, it's... Just reading here through the comments. Rodney, I bought several of your kick-ass products around year 2004 to 2006 because of you. Hope they were good. I mostly, asked sponsors to send me good stuff. That's why a lot of it was like kick-ass and whatnot. I used to get a lot of crap for that. How come every single product you review is kick-ass? Well, I'm not going to review garbage, so. Yeah, some channels get really bad people coming in, I suspect, right? And the bigger you are, the bigger channels you are, the more I would imagine the more hate you're probably going to get. So yeah, it's just people, hiding behind their monitors and their keyboards and stuff. So I don't think you'll ever stop that. And I mean, it's freedom of speech too, I suppose, right? So can't lock everything down, and you can't do that either. So why did I stop producing product reviews? Well, I have a video kind of about that, but okay, so I produced thousands of them, right? And I was at it forever. I started doing it, started the industry doing it, and I had enough of it. It got to a point where I didn't want to do it anymore. It was stressful, so I stopped. That's it. That's as simple as it gets. Just stopped. Just stopped. And also, I mean, when I stopped, YouTube is absolutely oversaturated with reviewers. And a lot of them, to be honest, produce content that's way beyond what I would be ever doing. I mean, they put tremendous amounts of time and skill. That's all they do, And I can't compete with that. And I don't want to compete. And if I ever did reviews again now, probably would be in a live stream of sorts where I could just sit down, do it, and have it over with. That's it. Quick and dirty. But that's the reason. It got stressful, didn't like it anymore, so I stopped doing it. Yeah, well, I could get other people to come on the show, but for now I'm going to keep it like this, and who knows, I will maybe migrate into other people coming on the channel, and it would be certainly more interesting, right? So you can throw around some more ideas, because when I'm here by myself doing it, and when you guys come in here in the chat, you can see how this interaction's going, right? I'm interacting with you, you're interacting with me, and it really works. So this person says, for what it's worth, I love your take on life as it relates to tech, or perhaps how tech relates to life. Well, thank you for that. Yeah, I think it's about, for me, it's about moderation. It's not too much of anything all of the time. Cake is good, but you can't eat it all the time. Gaming is great, but you can't be doing it all the time. Golf is wonderful, although I'm not a golfer. I always use that example. I don't know why, but I know friends who are golfing all the time and they're obsessed with it. But just moderation, really. It's all about moderation, having tons of hobbies, moderation, and that's kind of like the key to life in a way. It's a key to physical and mental health as well. Yeah, if you guys have any suggestions on other people, even if you were to get someone to come in here and, moderate or help me moderate or help, to pose questions and that kind of stuff. But, with everyone's lives being so busy these days, like to get someone to come on a live show and to make it happen and to do it, on a regular basis, I think it would have to be like in studio kind of, right? They'd have to come here or I would have to go there, and then it would be something that would work maybe better in a whole bunch of ways. Like that's something that I would love to do, something that probably is never going to happen. But, I would love to be in that scenario because I feed off people and hopefully people feed off of me. And you have like some crazy interactions that would happen. So I think it would be very interesting. And that's what, I love watching, a lot of content that's out there that's like that these days. The subtle nuances between people and, physically interacting and physically being in the same space. It's pretty cool. I was watching your videos when I was 18 or 19. Now I'm 32. Man, how time flies, eh? How time flies, how we get old. It's crazy. Like so fast. So the weeks pass by so fast. The years, the decades fly by so fast. But it's a journey, man. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. I purchased an 8-bit motherboard back in the day. Yeah, 8-bit was a sponsor of mine. Man, I had a lot of 8-bit boards. Did a lot of 8-bit reviews. And now they're gone, Yeah, Silverstone TJ07 case. A lot of great cases. A lot of cases with removable motherboard trays. You don't see that anymore. No one wants them. Or maybe, well, okay, not no one wants them, but very few people want them. This guy, Tom, says, hello, mate. Really cool to see you again. We missed you. Thank you. I missed all you guys as well. But just decided to get away and take a break, and we all need to do that. You need to know when to step aside. You need to know when to step away. You really do. And, that's what I did. Now I'm back, hopefully, for a long time. But I promise you this time, I will let you know if I decide to give it up. But the last time I kind of I was half in, half out. I was thinking I was going to continue. I didn't. I wasn't sure about making a commitment to saying, no, this is the end. And, I didn't want to seem like I was grandstanding saying, oh, well, this is the last video. You see these videos that people have, right? The end, I'm leaving, goodbye, and they're not saying goodbye. They're just, producing a video just to get some reaction. But anyway, it is what it is. Yeah, that's a good comment here about, yeah, I'm sure you could get people who would do it for free for modding. Put it on your Patreon. Yeah, that's a good thing. Now, I was gonna mention Patreon when I was wrapping this show up, which I'm going to do very shortly. But if you're not aware, if you notice here at the top right-hand corner of the site, there's t-shirts, which you can also pick up. You can pick up it. Unfortunately, the motherboard tray is not a removable t-shirt. I know a lot of you still have a t-shirt. Forget that t-shirt. Throw that t-shirt away. Get another one. I know they're expensive, but you know, there's no one else who's going to have a t-shirt like that out there. You can grab yourself a t-shirt, but also up here, you can join our community. Now, this is the Patreon, and this is a monthly fee. You know, just a thanks basically from you for producing all the content. You know, and there's some things that I post on my Patreon site that I'm not posting here. You know, it's a little bit not personal, but it's a little bit more, you know, well, I guess a little bit more personal. But so yeah, thank you for mentioning Patreon and remind me about that. Because some people here just joining, and I'm leaving shortly, very shortly. So I've went through all the poll questions in this video. Hope you enjoyed that. If you didn't, you can go back and check out the live stream once it is over, and I will chop this video up. So if you don't want to do that, no problem. I will chop it up and you can see little shorts throughout the week. And I went through some of the NVIDIA stuff. I also described cryptocurrency and blockchain technology also previously in this video, if you want to go back and view that stuff if you're a little unsure what is, you know, really cryptocurrency and blockchain. I know it's confusing, no doubt about it. But yeah. But I hope you enjoyed the show so far. I might start doing the show a little later on in the mornings. Although this is a good time for me, as I mentioned before, so I can get my day kind of going and make this kind of like a bit of a launching point for my Saturday and do the other things that I need to do here. But yeah, so again, I mentioned the Patreon. I mentioned t-shirt. Pick up yourself a t-shirt. You know, if you want a tip, you can. You want to do a super thanks, you can. You know, that's going to be it for me for this particular show. I will see you again next Saturday morning, around the same time, hopefully. If not, I'll let you know if I'm not going to do the live show. But I'm going to try to do, you know, these live shows on a regular basis from now on. And that'll be it. I don't know if there's anything else that I forgotten to mention here, but I think that's about everything. So enjoy the content that I will be pushing out during the week. And I have a video that I uploaded already about a new lens that I got, telephoto lens. And I'm thinking about doing some vlogging while I'm taking photography because I love photography. So we'll see how that goes. And I'll be posting that maybe today or in a few days and go from there. So that's it. That's it for this show. I will see you in the next show, which will be, what is next Saturday? Next Saturday, I think, is April the 22nd. So I see you guys then. Most of you here today, well, it's been good. You know, it's been nice interactions back and forth, and we'll do it all again. We'll do it all again next Saturday. So see you then. Until next time.